I'm 43, and my wife is 40. We've been married for 16 years, and we have 2 kids. Our daughter is 14, and our son is 9. In the beginning, our marriage had its challenges, but we worked through them and came out stronger on the other side. We were young when we got married, still figuring out who we were, but our love helped us overcome whatever obstacles came our way. Looking back, I'm not sure if that was all just me hoping for the best. For the last 3 years, my wife has been a manager at a large advertising firm, and I've been working as an engineer for 7 years. Both of our jobs provide well, so we've been able to enjoy a comfortable life as a family. We're a tight-knit group, always finding time to make memories with our kids. Even though I've always done my best to be a good dad and husband, I was blindsided when I found out about my wife's long-term affair. Despite my own mistakes along the way, here's how it all came to light. Over the past couple of years, my wife started pulling away emotionally. She began comparing me to her boss, someone who seemed to handle things much better than I did. I couldn't figure out what was going on in her head. Unlike her boss, I wasn't the one planning romantic dates or making her feel cherished, things her boss did for his wife. When I asked her what she needed to bring some excitement back to our relationship, she gave me vague answers. She made it clear that I was supposed to figure it out on my own. Feeling lost, I researched and bought books to help me, but every attempt to improve things ended in disappointment. What I didn't know at the time was that fixing things wasn't even on me to begin with. We were close friends with her boss and his family. We spent time together at barbecues, family outings, and other gatherings. I even confided in him about the issues in our marriage, thinking he was a trustworthy person. Now, back to the discovery. After feeling emotionally drained from trying to meet her expectations, one night, I noticed my wife laughing and texting someone. When I tried to glance at her phone, she quickly pulled away, angry. I started to suspect something was off, so the next day, I made the mistake of directly asking her about it. She denied everything without hesitation. I couldn't access her phone at first, but eventually, I got my hands on it and found deleted messages. Some of them didn't add up, but I pieced together enough evidence to confirm the affair with her boss. Rather than confronting her right away, I decided to wait, feeling devastated but also worried about our kids. I didn't want to give up on our marriage just yet. 3 days later, I bought the book How to Help Your Spouse Heal from an Affair, hoping it would help us salvage our relationship. I planned to sit down and talk on a Saturday, but she claimed there was an emergency at work, which made me suspicious. She didn't come home until late Sunday, avoiding any questions about her whereabouts. I suffered silently while she seemed completely indifferent. In my desperation, I reached out to her boss's wife, and she was just as shocked as I was. We decided to compare notes and gather evidence from both sides. I started snooping on my wife, and she did the same with her husband, quickly finding undeniable proof. His arrogance had led him to leave the incriminating texts on his phone, which explained the inconsistent messages I had found earlier. We discovered the affair had been going on for 2 years. We were both furious. Though seeking revenge was tempting, we decided against it. They had been together in various places, even sharing pictures. We ignored the images, not wanting to cause more harm to ourselves, and decided to get revenge in a different way by drawing up divorce papers. At the same time, we were both focused on moving forward from the betrayal. Our spouses had no idea we knew, so we kept playing our parts. Once everything was in place, they resumed their affair, but this time we were ready. We knew exactly where and how to confront them, even the hotel where they'd booked their weekend getaway. I personally went there with a sheriff, waiting in the lobby while my wife was called down from her room, dressed in a bathrobe. It wasn't too far from home, but the distance didn't matter. The sheriff asked for her confirmation, and she was served. When she realized what was happening, the shock on her face was priceless. But I walked away without rubbing it in. She grabbed my arm, demanding to know what was going on. I told her simply, "It's the affair and I'm leaving," she screamed, yanking my arm, and the sheriff had to intervene, telling her to let go. She started crying, but I didn't stick around. I just wanted to get home. When my wife informed her boss, he panicked when he was served at home. We didn't give them any time to prepare, We hit them with the same surprise they had hit us with. My divorce will be finalized in a couple of months, but it looks like hers will take longer. Both my wife and her boss are fighting the divorces, each of them unwilling to end their marriages. The excuses I hear are that they never planned on leaving their spouses, that it was just a clean affair, and that it was nothing more. They believe other people have worse affairs and still end up with strong marriages. They messed up and now want a chance to fix things. I asked my wife how she felt about everything, and she told me she was just going with the flow, acting completely out of character. I couldn't hold back and called her an idiot. People around me criticize me for not giving her another chance, but my kids know what's happening, obviously in an age-appropriate way, and they support me even though they wish we could stay together. But honestly, my resolve is starting to fade, especially since we're still living under the same roof. My wife is going to therapy and reading the book I bought. She says she's remorseful and will do whatever it takes to make things right. I just tell her that I believe she's only sorry she got caught. That's all I need to know. She called me bitter and resentful, accusing me of focusing only on the negativity. She apologized later, but I know deep down that's how she really feels. The boss's wife and I are still in contact, which drives my wife crazy. She thinks I might be having a revenge affair or that her boss's wife is the reason I won't give us another chance. She's asked me multiple times to cut ties with her, just like she did with her boss. I told her she was crazy. We didn't do anything wrong, and I don't see why I should listen to her now. I'm pretty sure I'm done. I've lost all respect for her. She still doesn't want to give up and keeps trying to engage with me about her thoughts and feelings on the affair. But to me, it just sounds like more excuses, so I don't entertain it. She wants me to go to therapy with her, but I've read enough stories where therapists end up blaming the one who's been hurt, so I'm not having it. She wants me to read infidelity books with her too, but what's the point if we're just going to divorce? She keeps insisting that she wants to be with me, but I told her she's not going to manipulate me with closeness. She says it's not manipulation. It's just her way of showing how much she loves me. I corrected her and said, "You love me now." People around me, even my mom, are frustrated. They think people make mistakes, and my wife has realized through hers that she truly loves me. I tell them I won't be anyone's fallback plan. I feel bad about how I've been treating her, but I still love her, even though there's also a lot of anger. Am I being too harsh with her? She's really trying, but I don't care anymore. Should I reconsider the divorce? People keep telling me I'm moving too fast and might regret it. Is that true? I honestly don't know what's real anymore. Update. Thanks for all the support, everyone. My wife and I are in a better place right now, but we're not reconciling. I'm still going through with the divorce because I can't get over how long her affair lasted. If it had been a one-night stand, that would have been a different story. But 2 years? That's just a slap in the face. I've gone to a few therapy sessions with her because I'm not a monster, and I still love her. One session was actually good and made me see her remorse. She hasn't handled everything perfectly, but she's trying pretty hard. The second session was a mess. She got upset with me for continuing to talk to the boss's wife, worrying I was going to have a revenge affair. It was the angriest I've been throughout all of this. We argued a lot later because I refused to do what she wanted, which was cutting contact with the boss's wife. I told her I wasn't going to stop talking to her. Eventually, I promised there wouldn't be a revenge affair, and that calmed her down. I know I don't owe her anything, but she's still my wife until the divorce is final, and I want to honor my commitments. I've gone to more sessions with her to check on her progress. Yes, this therapist handles both individual and couples counseling. No, I'm not doing this because I secretly want to save the marriage. I just want to see where she's at and be involved if I need to be. After the divorce, I'll step back and move on. The boss's wife is still leaving her husband, and he's still resisting the divorce. She's as determined as I am. I'll admit that we confide in each other on our bad days. I still don't see it as an affair, we're just friends now. She's strong, independent, and doesn't put up with nonsense. My kids are doing well. They understand that the divorce doesn't mean we love them any less. They don't want it to happen, but they get why it's necessary, in a way that makes sense for their age. My wife no longer works at the advertising company. She resigned after I served her divorce papers. She claims to have no contact with her former boss. She's been trying to find advice on forums to save our marriage. I've been reading a lot here too, and at first I didn't understand why people stayed with their unfaithful spouses. But seeing my wife work hard to be a better person has given me a bit of perspective. She's not a monster. She's just someone who made terrible choices and is trying to become better. She's offered me everything for another chance, but I'm still not sure. As the divorce gets closer, I'm starting to feel more at peace. We recently talked about her asking for a chance after it's all over. She even offered a postnup. I wasn't completely against it, but I told her it would be a very, very long road for her if she's serious. To be honest, a big part of me wants this divorce for a sense of fleeting justice, the only justice I can get without becoming an adulterer. My mom and I made up after I told her more about my wife's affair, but now she's furious after hearing all the details. Navigating her anger is tough. I didn't want to bring this up until my divorce was finalized, but I'm just so angry today and need to vent. As many of you know, my wife is absolutely terrified of the idea of me having a revenge affair. The reason is simple. I'm still in touch with the other woman she betrayed me with. My wife feels incredibly insecure, especially when compared to the other betrayed spouse. Wait, is that how it's spelled? The other betrayed spouse is younger, a model, very attractive, and owns a successful business. It drives my wife crazy, thinking I might give in to temptation and cheat on her as some kind of payback. It's hard for me to believe the nerve of her, giving me the two wrongs don't make a right speech. Of course, she's not wrong, and I have no intention of doing that, but her hypocrisy just infuriates me. Every time I go to visit the other betrayed spouse, my wife becomes either extremely sad or clingy. I've lost count of how many times she's thrown herself at me, trying to make sure I don't cheat on her in return. I reject her advances, and it only seems to make things worse. It blows my mind how selfish cheaters can be. They're only concerned about their own pain, while the betrayed are left to pick up the pieces and try to move forward. Another thing, our kids still spend time with their kids. I never visit the other betrayed spouse without my kids being with me. But no, my wife still thinks I'm capable of being as cold-hearted as she was and will seize any opportunity to be with another woman. It's almost laughable. The other man is still living in their holiday home, begging the other betrayed spouse to take him back. I won't lie, it gives me a bit of satisfaction to see him face the consequences of his actions. He hasn't tried to threaten me because he knows how much leverage I have on him. He's allowed to visit his kids whenever he wants, but he refuses to see me, making sure I'm not around when he does. Honestly, I feel sorry for the guy. At the moment, my wife has been really apologetic. She's been showing me a lot of affection, but I've been ignoring it because I'm just not in a good place. We have a therapy session today, and I plan to tell her exactly how much pain and hurt I've felt because of her actions. The rage inside me is growing stronger by the day. Update. In a recent therapy session, my wife asked for more time to win me back. She had several reasons why I should at least try to work on recovering our marriage. Not necessarily reconciling, but at least making an effort. I kept pointing out that she's only trying now because of the fallout from her affair. If she were still with the other person, she wouldn't even be bothering with any of this. She emotionally mistreated me for months, and I refused to let myself be treated like a doormat, even by the woman I once loved. She admitted her mistakes and apologized again, promising to do whatever it takes to make it up to me. She says she wants our marriage to be stronger than ever and believes it's still possible. I asked her if she was ready to deal with all the anger I'm carrying, because it's a lot. She said she was, encouraging me to unload all my pain on her whenever I needed to process it. Usually, when I ask her why she had the affair, I get a string of excuses. But this time, she was more honest, admitting there was no excuse for what she did. She promised that she would show me, through her actions every day for the rest of her life, that she was truly remorseful and would never hurt me in that way again. She opened up about her own feelings, explaining that she was very insecure and jealous of the other betrayed spouse. The affair made her feel beautiful and wanted, giving her a boost to her ego. But she admitted it was just a fantasy, one that could never last, and she regretted it deeply. She said she would carry the guilt for the rest of her life and probably would never forgive herself. She confessed that she could never compare to the other betrayed spouse, and that her fear that I'd cheat back came from the other person's beauty and integrity. The other betrayed spouse never said anything mean or threatened her, but my wife's insecurities were speaking loudest. The therapist asked what it would take for me to even consider my wife's proposal. I couldn't think of anything and, in all honesty, told her I'd need a time machine because what I have now is a mockery of a marriage. This isn't what I signed up for. The therapist suggested that every marriage faces problems, and how those problems are handled reflects the strength of the marriage. I was taken aback and told the therapist to focus on my wife, not on us. The therapist hinted that my unwillingness to listen to logical reasoning might be a communication problem. I didn't disagree with that. On the drive home, my wife and I had a long conversation. She asked if I felt emasculated by her affair, which surprised me. I admitted that I did. Then she shocked me again by asking if I'd feel better if I slept with another woman. I told her I'm not normal and would never have a revenge affair. She clarified that she meant a trial separation, where I could go out and regain my confidence. She would stay faithful and wait for me to come back when I was ready. I thought her proposal was insane and asked how it would benefit the marriage for both of us to have affairs. She argued that mine wouldn't technically be an affair, since we'd be separated with conditions allowing me to see other people. I rejected her suggestion immediately, finding it completely out of character for her to propose something like that. Despite my lack of trust, she's been surprisingly calm and patient these past few weeks, almost like a different person from the insecure woman I knew. Even though she doesn't want the divorce, she's been generous in the process, which has made everything more complicated to navigate. Update: before I dive into the details, I want to thank everyone who's been supporting me. Right now, my wife and I have decided to be civil and spend the holidays together for the sake of our kids. This will be our last holiday as a family, though my wife hopes otherwise. I'm doing this for our kids because I love them. Our divorce will be finalized by mid-February. For those asking, we've split everything 50-50, although my wife has been generous. I'm still unsure whether this is some sort of tactic to win me back later. So far, she's been kind, saying it's because I've been a great husband and father, so I deserve a fair divorce. She won't lose much, but I'll be walking away with slightly more because of her. I've stopped therapy with her because it was giving me false hope. She admits she wants closeness due to my absence, acknowledging that I feel emasculated because of the affair. She's been making a real effort to engage with me in a way she never did before. Over time, I've come to appreciate her addressing my concerns, but I still reject her attempts. She insists it's not about reconciliation, that she just wants me to feel good and desired. I've cut off contact with the other betrayed spouse temporarily, as things were getting too personal. The other betrayed spouse has confessed to having feelings for me and is willing to wait until the divorce is finalized before anything happens. I'm confused and unsure if I return her feelings, so we decided to take a break until everything is sorted out. Some people have suggested that my involvement might be affecting her reconciliation efforts, but I have no part in her decision to leave her own partner. She's done with him, and we don't badmouth our spouses when we're together. The other man recently apologized to me in person, but I didn't accept it. Call me petty, but I really don't care about what he's going through. I have a question. Is it okay to experience closeness with my wife even though we're not reconciling? I miss the closeness we once shared, and she's eager, trying everything possible to initiate it. Sometimes, I find it hard to resist. She even went as far as getting rid of anything related to the other man, without me asking, since I never cared to know where they shared their moments. It's not easy for me to switch off my emotions. Is this a trap? Am I being played? Before anyone suggests kicking her out, I've tried that, but I want her here for less hassle until the divorce is done. Rant. It's finally dawned on me. I used to think I wasted years on a woman who seemed worthless, but she gave me great kids and unforgettable memories. I won't forget that, but now I see that I can do better than her. I've received advice, and I finally understand that I deserve better. She treated me poorly when another man showed her attention, giving all her energy to him. Only now, when I've emotionally detached, does she try everything to keep me and invest in us. Now she wants me to be happy. She's even being adventurous in bed. While our previous closeness wasn't perfect, I enjoyed it. Now I realize I've missed out on so much. Through her texts with the other man, knowing only a fraction of what they shared and how graphic their encounters were. She now respects my boundaries and sees me as the man she should have treated better from the start. But it feels fleeting. She's been transparent and brutally honest, expressing regret for the affair. I see the constant look of shame and hopelessness on her face when I reject her advances. Sometimes it makes me hate myself, but I know it's necessary. Why can't I see this as a positive thing? Why can't I judge her for her remorseful actions? Many people who have long-term affairs eventually come out stronger, right? Why am I letting emotion drive my decisions instead of mature objectivity? Someone else might get the improved version of her while I continue navigating yet another uncertain relationship. Why not fight for this when everything seems to point towards something positive in the future? I've been given all these lines and my answer remains the same. I won't accept disrespect. Maybe I was willing to in the early stages, but I woke up from that quickly. This is for the people who've been checking in on me and offering support. I've decided to enjoy Christmas with my entire family, then fully move on from my wife. I've stopped clinging to the thoughts I created in my head that allowed her to keep control over me, and I'm ready to move on from the idea of her altogether. I won't be dating her or giving us another shot. We are done for good. I want to make it clear. My wife isn't a villain, and that's true. I genuinely want her to be happy, but it will never be with me. She's shown me that. Today, I called the other betrayed spouse, OBS, and offered to take her out for dinner after the holidays as a thank you for the support she gave me when I hit rock bottom. She said she'd love to. I know this doesn't happen often, but we've been through a lot together, and I owe her thanks. Before anyone starts speculating about how much I planned this with the other betrayed spouse, I want to be clear. I didn't. My emotions have been all over the place for the last few years, and the thought of another woman never even crossed my mind until recently. And it's just dinner, nothing else unless we both decide it should go that way. But as the divorce gets closer, I'm realizing that I do have options, and one of them has been right there all along. As for the other man, I honestly couldn't care less about him. I don't think I'll marry again, and I'm upfront about that with any woman I meet. While my divorce hasn't been too difficult, I am losing a significant amount of money. Still, the idea of marriage just feels like a sham to me now. Sorry if I sound cynical, but that's where I'm at right now. I don't mean to offend anyone, but I'm still processing all of this. I gave my best years to this woman, and I'm only just starting to realize how little I got in return. Update.
I'm officially divorced.
It's been a long time coming, but it's over. My ex and I separated almost 3 weeks ago, and for a few days after, I grieved like I lost a loved one. The failure of my marriage hit me harder than I ever expected. I never cried like that before. Ever since I first discovered the affair, I raged. It was definitely one of the lowest points of my life. Everything's been organized for my ex, partly for the kids' sake. She moved out of the house, and I'm in the process of buying her out. She's living in an apartment now, a huge downgrade for her, and it's depressing for her. She's still going to therapy and reading up on infidelity, though I'm not sure why. We've had long talks, both leading up to and after the divorce, with minimal physical contact. I know I shouldn't entertain any of this, but she's still the mother of my kids, and I want us to co-parent well. I'm trying to stay logical about everything, largely thanks to this community and others. It's the same story. She wants to reconcile, but I think it's too risky for me to put myself through that again. Unfortunately, I'm not in the mood to offer her that chance. This past weekend, I went to dinner with the other betrayed spouse, OBS, with no intention other than enjoying her company and having a chat. We ended up talking about all sorts of things, and things got a bit flirty. I have to admit, I was very reluctant to entertain the mood, but in the end, the night took a very passionate turn. Sorry for the TMI. It was probably the most perfect closeness I've had in a long time. OBS is a giver and far beyond my ex in that department. I didn't intend for it to go that far, but we were both willing, and things unfolded. I learned a few new tricks in the process. It's the first time I've had someone so enthusiastic about pleasing me rather than me always being the one to please. I guess I can't really call her the other betrayed spouse anymore since she divorced her ex, but for privacy's sake, I'll keep using the term. I'm not sure if we'll take things further, to be honest. I think the hormones and wine got the best of us that night. She would like to pursue something, but I'm undecided. I need time to sort myself out emotionally, and I think she does too. But honestly, I feel great. Some people might not want to hear this, but the closeness I had with OBS really helped with my lingering self-esteem issues. I felt desired, alive, and finally understood what I'd been missing. I will never settle for robotic closeness again. What was even more satisfying was knowing that I wasn't cheating and didn't compromise my morals. All things considered, I'm proud of how I handled this entire mess. I wasn't perfect, but I did the best I could. Compared to many betrayed spouses, I'm probably coming out of this relatively lucky, even though I've lost a significant amount of money. But that's because I was willing to absorb advice and listen to those with experience instead of going in blind and hoping for the best. Takeaways: respect yourself. Never tolerate disrespect, even from those closest to you. Everyone deserves a healthy, fulfilling relationship. Don't settle for less than you deserve from your partner. A committed relationship should have a satisfying closeness. If your partner isn't putting in the effort, especially after an affair, don't accept it. Express your dissatisfaction. If your partner isn't meeting your needs, don't settle for unfulfilling closeness unless you both agree. It's okay to walk away. Communicate, communicate, communicate. It's incredibly important. If you're betrayed, remember that only you can truly heal yourself. Took me a long time to understand this. There are more lessons, but these are the key ones I can think of for now. I'll answer comments for a few hours, but after that, I'm done posting here and moving forward with my life. Wishing everyone the best. Update: I've intentionally stayed away from anything related to infidelity because I still get triggered from time to time. I'm dealing with the trauma but trying not to dwell too much on it. I'm okay, no accidents or disappearing acts. I'm now in a relationship with OBS, who is officially my girlfriend. She worked through her situation with her ex, OM, and handled their child custody and financial issues maturely, without seeking revenge. There's some tension among the children, so we've started therapy to help them adjust and understand that our relationship doesn't diminish their importance. It's been challenging because not everyone is fully on board. My daughter, ex, and OM don't like being around each other, and there's tension there. My ex seems upset about OBS influencing my perspective, and she's still pushing for a second chance. I'm genuinely concerned about my ex's behavior. She tried something at a 4th of July party, and though I stopped it, she's still persisting. People warned me that my ex might pine for me, and they were right. OBS is letting me handle it, but she's growing weary of my ex's antics. Did I mention that my ex strongly dislikes OBS? I thought she was changing for the better, but since I left her, she's become a mess. It's confusing. I treated her well, while she treated me poorly, but now that I've said forget you, she's desperately seeking my attention. I don't know if I should be angry about it. So there you have it. You can all rest easy now. Concern for my daughter. I'm really worried about my daughter. The fallout from the affair has strained her relationship with her mother. She openly expresses anger, believing everything would have been fine if her mother hadn't cheated. She's rebellious, rejecting affection from her mom and even cursing at her. I've stepped in to enforce respect, but it still concerns me. My ex-wife is trying to repair their relationship and is asking for my help, despite it being my decision to divorce her. I could confront her about her infidelity, but I choose not to. Still, it makes me question whether I've handled everything as well as I should have. Things I'm worried about: my daughter's lack of respect for her mother. She wishes things could go back to how they were before. She remains unaware of the emotional abuse I suffered. My daughter's therapy is ongoing, but I'm unsure how effective it's been. I worry she feels overwhelmed and voiceless. She seems to handle my relationship with the other betrayed spouse well, but I suspect she might be hiding some of her emotions. I fear that divorcing her mother might have negatively impacted my kids' lives. Any advice is highly appreciated. Update: I want to give a realistic update, not a fairy tale. So, how are things with the other betrayed spouse and me? Honestly, we're doing great. If I had known a woman like her existed earlier, I would have found her years ago. Joking aside, our relationship is the healthiest I've ever had. My marriage to my ex-wife left me unsure of what a truly healthy partnership looked like. But the other betrayed spouse has been an amazing partner, and I'm genuinely in love with her. She shows me how much I mean to her every day, and I feel the same way about her. That said, we're keeping things at the girlfriend level for now. I'm still unsure about marriage, but we're enjoying the relationship and keeping it private. The kids know, but we're trying to involve them as little as possible. On the kids, first it was rough, but things have improved significantly. Our heavy involvement in their lives, as well as ensuring they had someone to talk to about their concerns, has made a huge difference. Therapy has played a significant role, too. My daughter and son both adore the other betrayed spouse. She has a great connection with them, and her children now like me much more than they did almost 2 years ago. It's amazing how far we've come. A while back, her youngest started calling me her stepdad at family functions, which caught me off guard. I was concerned she might feel pressured to see me that way, but she reassured me that she genuinely liked me and that I made her mom happy. Hearing that was emotional for me, but I've tried to stay strong. I also enjoy seeing my kids and her children play together. It's funny how my son, being the only boy and the youngest, ends up the target of their teasing. It's a mix of laughter and cringe, but I love seeing them bond. As for my ex-wife, we're on good terms. She's been working hard to repair her relationship with our daughter, and I was pleased when my daughter said she could find it in her heart to forgive her mother for what happened. They've made real progress. However, I don't think my ex-wife has fully accepted that we're done as a couple. She seems to be hinting at the possibility of a second try. She's been hitting the gym, attending therapy, and overall seems healthier. But honestly, I've made peace with the past, and I don't care where she's at emotionally anymore. That's her problem now, not mine. She's been communicating more with the other betrayed spouse, and while there's some progress, the other betrayed spouse is still skeptical, which is understandable. As for M, he's a lost cause. Despite all his money, I didn't realize just how much of a mess he is. He's with a new girlfriend now, but his kids despise her, and they don't hold back about it. Took me a while to see just how full of himself M is. To be honest, I don't like his girlfriend either. She seems incredibly materialistic, selfish, and dismissive of his kids. In conclusion, we're doing better than okay. There are still challenges, of course, but with a lot of effort from everyone involved, things are turning out much better than I initially thought. It's not a happily ever after, but I'm genuinely happy now.